Welcome Primary 5, Miss Hiba Ahmed is with you. Today we will complete our lesson from Unit 1, Lesson 1, Fraction Force. We will take today Part 2 and finish the lesson. Okay, in the last session we take the definition of the fraction force. Do you remember? Very good. It's the force between two surfaces touching each other and it acts in the opposite direction of the movement. Very good. And we also take the types of the friction force, which is between solids and air, which is called air resistance. Very good. And between solids and water, which is called water resistance. Very good, Primary 5. Today we will take factors that affect the friction force. What is the meaning of factors that affect the friction force? There is some factors make the friction force increase or decrease. What are these factors? Number one, the surface area of the moving object. Number two, the type of the material surface. Number three, the speed of the body. Let's start with number one, which is the surface area of the moving object. Okay, we have in these two pictures, it's a very large car, which is lorry car, which has a very large surface area. But here, it's a small car, like our car, okay, and it has a small surface area, okay. This car has small surface area and this car has a large surface area, okay. If these two cars, they are moving in the same speed, okay, and these two cars, they want to stop. Okay, remember me, if I want to stop moving, which force helped me to stop moving? Very good, the friction force. Okay, and also remember me, we have here this is the direction of the movement. Very good. And the direction of the friction force will be in the same direction or in the opposite direction. Very good, in the opposite direction. So here also that's the motion direction and this is the direction of the friction force. Okay, so we have here two cars. This car has a small surface area and this car has a large surface area because this car is bigger than this car. Okay, so and they are moving in the same speed and both of them will stop. Which one will take a large friction force to stop? Which will take larger friction force? The small car which has a small surface area or the lorry car which has a big surface area? Okay, the friction force will be increasing in which one? Very good. In the lorry car because it has a large surface area. So it will take more friction force to stop moving than this car. Okay, also we have here the same example. Which one will take a large friction force to stop moving? This car or this car? If they are moving in the same speed. Very good, this car. Why? Because the surface area of this car is bigger. So from this example, we must know that the relation between the surface area of the moving object and the friction force, it's a direct relation. What is the meaning of direct relation? That's meaning that when the surface area is increasing, the friction force will increase also. So when the two objects are increasing together, so there is a direct relation. Okay? Okay. So the surface area of this car here is increasing than this car. So the friction force that will able to stop this car is bigger than the friction force to stop this car. So when the surface area increase, the friction force is increased. So between the surface area and the friction force, there is a direct relation. Okay? Okay. Let's go to the factor number 2, which is the type of the material surface. I have here two poles, this pole and this pole, and I move this ball on this rough surface and this smooth surface. Okay, the ball, sorry, will move fast in this rough surface or in this smooth surface. Very good, in this smooth surface. So when the ball is moving so fast. That's meaning that the friction force is increase or decrease. Remember? Remember, the friction force is that's the force that enables the body to stop. Okay? So when the body is moving very fast, so the friction force here is big or small? Very good. The friction force here is small, but here the ball will move slowly to a small area and it will stop. So the friction here is bigger or small? So the friction here is bigger. So very good, you. Very good. So when the object is moving in a rough surface, the friction force will increase. But when the object is moving in a smooth surface, the friction force will decrease. Why here the friction force will decrease? Because the ball will move so fast and to a large area. Okay? And this ball will move here so slowly and it will move in a small area and will stop. So the friction force here is bigger than here. So on the rough surfaces, the friction force will increase. But on the smooth surfaces, the friction force will decrease. Don't forget. Let's get the factor number 3, which is the speed of the body. If we have two cars and the two cars, they are moving in different speed. Car A is moving, as you can see, in a slowly speed, but car B is moving on a very fast speed. If I want to stop the both cars, the friction force will increase and I need more friction force and large amount of the friction force to stop the car that is moving slowly in A or the car that is moving very fast in B. Very good. The car which is moving very fast in B. So when the speed is increasing, the friction force is increasing. Okay? If I have two boys, one is walking and the other is running, and they want to stop, which one will stop? Which one will take a large amount of the friction force to stop? Very good. The boy which is running, and the speed so when the speed of the object increase, the friction force will increase. So between the speed and the friction force, there is a direct relation. Okay? So we take today the factors that affect the friction force, which are surface area and the speed of the body and the type of the material surface. Between the surface area and the speed of the body and the friction force, there is a direct relation. Why? Because when the surface area increase, friction force is increased. And when the speed of the body increase, the friction force is increasing. Okay, don't forget. And also, we take the type of the material surface and we said that when the friction force is increasing on the rough surfaces and decreasing on the smooth surfaces. Okay, look at this picture, primary 5. I have here two boys. This boy is sliding on the ice and this boy is sliding on the grass. Which one is smooth and which one is rough? So the ice is smooth surface, but the grass is a rough surface. So which one has less friction and which one has more friction? Before answering, remember that the friction force increase on the rough surface and decrease on the smooth surface. So the friction force is less on A or B. Very good. On A. Why? Because it's a smooth surface and the friction force decrease on the smooth surface. And in B, there is more friction force. Why? Because the friction force increase on the rough surfaces. Okay? Okay. At least, let's take the live applications on this lesson. Okay? We have here some questions. Okay? Give reason and we will understand it together. Number 1, birds have streamlined shape. What is the meaning of streamlined shape? This shape of the bird, as you can see, it's a streamlined shape. Streamlined shape. This shape. Okay? Why they have this shape? To decrease the air resistance. What is the meaning of that? If the birds have a very surface area, if the head of the bird is like this, okay, and like this, and I told you that's a streamline shape, okay, and that's another shape, okay. If the head of the bird is like this shape, so the surface area is bigger in streamline shape or in this shape. The surface area is bigger in this shape. Very good. So when the surface area increase, the friction force is increase or decrease. Very good. It increase. So the birds will fly and move very easy, or it will be difficult to the bird to move if they have this shape, because this shape increase the friction force. They will have difficult to move. But if the birds have a streamlined shape like this one, okay, so we will decrease the surface area, and when we decrease the surface area, the friction force is decreasing, so the bird will move so easily, right? Because the friction force allow the body to stop. Okay, so when we decrease the friction force, the movement will be easier. So the birds have streamlined shape, okay, to decrease the surface area and decrease the air resistance or the friction force. Okay, okay. The same question here we have here. The ships have streamlined shape also to decrease the water resistance, because we decreasing what? The surface area. And the modern trains, as you can see, also they have a streamlined shape here. Why? To decrease the surface areas and decrease the friction force or the air resistance. And the rockets here, they have also a streamlined shape. Also what? Why? To decrease the air to decrease the air resistance by decreasing the surface area. Okay? Okay. And birds stretch their wings on landing. When the birds are stretched their wings on landing, they are increasing or decreasing the surface area. Very good. They are increasing the surface area, and when increasing the surface area, the friction force will increase. Very good. And they want to land. They want to stop. So they want to increase the friction force to stop. So they stretch their wings to increase the surface area and increase the friction force to stop from the flying. And also we have here the same question. The parachutist opened his parachute on landing. When he opened his parachute here, he is increasing or decreasing the surface area. Very good. He increased the surface area, so the friction force will increase. So that he will be able to stop moving. Very good. Okay, so the parachutist open his parachute on landing, or the birds stretch their wings on landing to increase the surface area, that increase the air resistance or the friction force. And in the opposite, okay, if he told you if anything have a streamlined shape, so we decrease the surface area to decrease the friction force. We finish the lesson. Thank you for listening. Miss Hiba Ahmed was with you.